first thing they should do is really stop right there and take a step back and think why they want to do an ICO. Just because everybody's doing it is not the right reason to get in. An ICO is a very complicated, long, extenuating process. Costly, actually, matter of fact. And it might not be the right thing for you. So I would say take a step back and figure out if there are other ways, other vehicles that you can use to raise funds. Maybe in the traditional ways, or maybe through a SAFE, or so forth. Or through even FCF, free cash flow, if you have a generating business. And then if an ICO is really the thing for you, start thinking about the business model first. Right? Everything starts from the business. So basic questions like, what's my break-even, my FCF, my unique value proposition? Do I have a product market fit? Is somebody wanting this thing that I'm building? And on top of that, you can start thinking about tokenizations, right? How can I enable this business with a token, right? So how can I incentivize the good behavior? How can I disincentivize the good behavior? How can I reduce churn and increase stickiness and those sort of things? And lastly, think about compliance. So we live in jurisdictions that have laws, so you have to make sure that you comply with those laws. And mainly those laws come down to a few things. So think about, is my token useful as a utility? Is it something, or is it ethereal? Are you building something, a software or a hardware, product or services, or it's just an idea? And lastly, am I promoting this token, this company, as an investment vehicle? Because if it is, that's a security. You have to make sure that you register in the proper way. An ICO, it's not for everyone. Right? I do believe that, especially existing companies, they have the opportunity to leverage their FCF, their free cash flow, to reinvest in the business and grow from there, right? There's also a traditional model with, convertible notes, SAFE, what you can do, right? So convertible notes that go from a debt to equity down the road. There's equity funding, right? Traditional seed funding
but then you
around.
give away your equity.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes giving up the equity is a good thing, right? Just because we don't know if a token right now is or not a security, it's a good thing. It's a good way for us to kind of go do an ICO, jump into an ICO, right? The fact that we don't know if a token is an ownership in a company yet doesn't mean that it will not. So it could be that might as well 3 years down the road, the SEC will say, hey, each token holder is actually an owner in a company. What would happen then? Especially for existing businesses, see if there are other traditional ways to kind of start up. For new businesses, take a look at traditional vehicle. If you only think that there's no other viable way, think about getting to crowdfunding, ICO. Currently, ICOs are mainly for blockchain company. So oftentimes people want to do an ICO, they actually stick something about blockchain on their business, but it's not the right way to do it. Based on my experience in the past few years, that's a failing case. So one good example that I personally like a lot is Civic, Vinny Lingham. The way that he handles an ICO to me is exemplary. We take Vinny as an example for all my projects that I do, as well as for the Blockchain Compliance Alliance to develop the ICO standard. The way that he executed, this new business, the way he actually thought about it from a business standpoint, from a token standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, is wonderful. He incorporated in Delaware, have an office in Palo Alto, pays US taxes. It's an existing business, he has a team, and then he raised the right amount of money for what he was trying to do. It's fully transparent. So that's one of the projects that I think we really, really like. Right now we have the opportunity to work with some people from the regulatory environment, from the United States and from Europe. That gives us the opportunity to kind of have these people sitting at the table and co-develop and co-revise a solution together, which is the point of self-regulations, right? We don't want to create a regulation silos that is going to get shut down by regulators, but we're going to kind of have a conversation and say, what is the best way to go about it? So now we're at the stage and more to come and hopefully be able to launch by the end of 2018. I had a great experience in the first BEF in New York. I think Valentin and the team did a great job putting this event together, calling up an amazing, incredible lineup of speakers, an incredible lineup of know-how and knowledge. The content is great. And I think having it here in Singapore, which is somewhat controversial jurisdiction in terms of ICO and blockchain, I think it makes sense. just because you have a pool of people really interested in figuring out what is the right thing to do, how to do it, and so forth. So I think it was like a right decision to kind of have 1 year. I really hope the BEF will become like, one of the standard, series of events around blockchain and economics going forward.